Hey guys, it's Rose Pop, and I'm going to be doing a video ranking the Smite Gods from hardest to easiest based on literally just my own opinion. I obviously put the Morrigan in the top because that's where she belongs. For me, this is going to be rated based on how easy I find them to play, and I am a fairly average player. So if you're also an average player, this probably relates to you as well, ideally. I can state at the beginning that I am an Aphrodite main and all of the healers are my favorite. So if you find yourself to be in that realm, then you might relate to this a little more. All right, let's get going with Achilles. I'm going to put him in hard just because of his passive flip. I don't really know when to choose to be defensive or attacking, and it requires too much thought from me, and I don't think. Agni, I'm also going to put him in hard because getting his stun correct is not the easiest thing in the world. Like, you should use his 4 and then use his 1 like immediately wherever the person is so that you get the stun off before they have the chance to react. And that's not the easiest to do. I think I had to practice that a lot. So I'm going to put him in hard. I'm using Cobb. I wouldn't say there's anything too complicated about his kit. It's kind of straightforward. The fact that he doesn't have an escape can make him more difficult, but he's also, his base kit is pretty easy and he's easy to get the hang of. Whether or not he's in the meta is a different story, but I think that he is medium. I don't think that he's too hard that someone would have to actively practice with him. Same thing with Apwash, honestly. I think that he's kind of similar to Agni in like you gotta make sure you know where you're aiming when you do your explosion, because his damage kind of relies on that combo. But I don't think it's as hard to pull off as Agni's. The timing isn't as hard to pull off, and with his like healing and everything, I feel like he's pretty safe. I feel like Apwash is definitely medium. I'm gonna put him in medium. Amaterasu, I'm putting in hard because I think that she's not the safest god to play, especially like as a warrior. She does a lot of basic attack damage, and in my opinion, basic attack warriors are harder to play because it's kind of like basic attack assassins rather than burst assassins. You have to be in there and you have to make sure you're tanky enough to stay alive and do damage, and it's not the easiest to set up team fights with Amaterasu with anything except for her ult. So I'm going to put her in hard. On her, oof. I feel like either hard or very hard, which is crazy because his kit seems very... I'm going to put him in hard. You can do well with him without using his 1-2 combo, but there are still situations where you're going to need that extra damage and that stun to really like lock down your opponent. But he has an escape, which makes it easy for him to like get out of uncomfortable situations. His ult isn't difficult. It's not like hard to understand, but I think just like understanding his passive and also being able to hit his stun makes him hard. Anubis, oh my god. I don't know if I want to be rude or not, because I'm going to put Anubis in brain dead. No, yes, I'm going to put Anubis in brain dead. It's so easy to play him, and most people that play him I know are usually brain dead. I'm going to put Ao Kwang in medium. His execute makes him so easy to play, but it's a little difficult trying to understand his how to build him and how to use his 2 properly. Aphrodite, she's my main, so like I want to say she's not hard. I want to say she's pretty medium. In the game she's listed as hard, I believe, but I don't think she's hard. The hardest part about playing Aphrodite is, well, 1, staying alive, and 2, using her doves and making them actually hit people. Example I like is, I think I use my 1 to stun, use my doves, go behind them and back off so that they go towards my team instead of away from my team. And I think that's the hardest thing to pull off with Aphrodite probably, and it's not that hard. I'm going to put her in medium. I do not think she should be listed as hard. Apollo, easy. There's not really much to say about Apollo, especially since they buffed his ult to not use as much mana. I think he's a fairly easy god to play. Actually, I think I would put him in very easy. I don't think he's very hard at all. Arachne, I'm gonna put her in... Where would I put Arachne? Either hard or medium. I think Arachne would be put in medium. I don't think she's too hard to pick up. She's an auto attack focused assassin, which makes her harder, but the fact that she has such an easy escape and she can lock you down so easily, I would say that she's a pretty medium god, because you just toggle on your 1 and 2 and then go to town, right? I'm gonna put Ares in easy. I don't think he's like the easiest guardian in the game, but he's definitely like one of the cheapest guardians. I don't think that he's hard at all. I think that the hardest part would be hitting his chain ability, his first ability on gods, and like being able to stack that damage up. So that's why he's not in very easy, but he's not too... The rest of his kit makes him really easy, in my opinion, and he's one of the best guardians in Arena, so I'm going to put him in easy. Artemis, I'm going to put in easy. I think that they recently changed her passive, so now when she crowd controls enemies, she does extra damage to them rather than like whatever her crit passive was before. And if it was still her crit passive, I would probably put her in very easy, but knowing that she does more damage, you have to know that she does more damage to gods when they're crowd controlled, so you have to strategize just a little bit to try to get more damage off, even though she has a lot of crowd control in her kit. I think every ability has crowd control, except for her too. She's still pretty easy. Ardeo, she's a stance changer, so automatically she's going to be in the hard mode. I don't know if I would say she's very hard, because she's kind of like in a King Arthur type mood for me, because like it's just her abilities can be used together to create like the optimal situation, but they still aren't terrible if you use them in other orders. I'm gonna put her in hard, but not very hard. Athena, I'm gonna put she's a really good god right now. She's always pretty good with her taunt and her global ult. I think the global ult makes her one of the best gods. Is she easy? Yeah, I think she's pretty easy, because you just have to know how to pull off her combo really and then not die. There's not too much like synergy that you have to make sure that you have to get her done, to get her things done. Atlas, I'm gonna put in hard. I'm terrible at Atlas, but he has an unconventional kit. I think like his 1, like throw it out and then it changes how his 2 works, and I feel like knowing that automatically puts him in a harder category. It's also like knowing how to control your enemy, how to keep control over your enemy. He's really good at crowd control, but you have to put in a lot of knowledge, and you have to think about what your team is going to need, and people have a hard time with supports and guardians in general, so I think that he belongs in hard. I'm going to put a Wheelish in hard as well. Her kit is not straightforward at all. It might be because I'm dyslexic and I can't read, but it took me a while to even get the hang of how she does her damage. And she's not a typical, in my opinion, she doesn't feel like a typical assassin, just because her if you compare it to, what's his name? If you compare it to like Lancelot's horse, it doesn't seem to be the same like sort of usefulness. But that's not true. Suku is pretty good. Yeah, I would put her in hard. She's not a typical assassin, and being able to pull off the pull with her ult can take a lot of practice and can be very hard, in my opinion. Baba Yaga, I'm gonna put in hard as well. Just understanding how her brew works and everything. You can still do quite a good amount of damage, not really understanding her second ability or and stuff like that, but I think with the cast times on her ult and on her 2 make her difficult to play in general. She feels a little clunky. Then also knowing how to maximize her utility and her damage is not the easiest. Bacchus, I'm gonna put in easy. I don't think he's very hard. You just do some crowd control, do some damage. That's about it. Bakasura, I'm gonna put him in hard. I'm gonna put Baka in hard, just because you have to use your brain a little bit. You have to know that his 2 eats minions and then he regurgitates those minions for his ult. He's not a god that you could just pick up and start using like, oh, this ability does this ability does this. Like, you can't just spam the abilities and hope that they do something that you want. So that's why I would put him in hard. I would put Baron Samdi in medium. I don't think he's the hardest to play. His kit is pretty straightforward. There is like there's potential for being a really good player and a really average player with Baron Samdi, with his passive, where he does more damage the more like abilities he does to you. I forget, I think it's called Paranoia or something, I'm not sure. So that makes it, that gives him a higher like skill ceiling, I guess. I still put him in medium though, because his abilities are not the hardest to hit. And I think that once you get a hang of him, he's one of the simpler mages. Bastet, I'm going to put in easy. I think they kind of dumbed her kit down so much. She doesn't feel hard anymore. She wasn't really the hardest to begin with. I think she's one of the easier assassins. Bellona, I'm going to put in easy. She's not difficult at all. She's probably one of, like, when it comes to worrying about passives and things, I feel like she would be the person that I would suggest people use when trying to learn about like passives and stuff, because she switches between the 3 weapons and then based on the ability that she uses. And her 1, I think, if she uses that's the shield. I don't remember the passive that gets. The 2, if you use the hammer, then she gets a cleave for her basic attack, and then her 3, she has the whip and the basic attack will heal her. And I think that her kit is straightforward enough where you can pick her up and then you start learning about passives very easily with her. I think she's a really good beginner god, in my opinion. Kabrakan, he's easy. I wouldn't say he's very easy because it is hard to make sure you don't die when you're doing your stomp on the ground thing, but I don't think he's hard. I'm going to put Camazotz in easy. There's not much to his kit. It's basically just sustain as much as you can. His skill shots are a little difficult to hit, but not enough for him to not be easy. Cerberus, I'm putting him in medium just for the simple fact that his stun can be confusing and hard to pull off, and as a guardian, you're going to want to be able to consistently hit your crowd control. I'm going to go for easy for Cernunnos, because even if you don't understand his first ability, which is not hard to understand, he still does a good amount of damage and he has a pretty simple kit. Chalk, also easy. Very easy? No. I'm going to put Cernunnos in very easy, actually. I think he's very easy. Chalk is going to go in easy. He's not a hard character, especially given his like passive of what is, I think, 5 stacks, and then he gets a free mana ability, and you can just stack that unknowingly and then be like, oh yeah, I have great mana management. I think he's a pretty easy god. Chang'e, I'm putting her in hard just because you have to use your brain more than you would with other healers, because you have to plan ahead when you're playing Chang'e, plan ahead for what you're going to build, and you have to use your Jade Rabbit effectively so that you can get the best out of your passive, where he goes back and buys stuff from the store for you. And then also the fact that she has to get so close to do her damage makes her pretty dangerous for a mage. So I'm going to put her in hard. Charon, I'm putting Charon in easy. I was debating putting him in medium because you do have to think about his passive a little bit. Or not his passive. You do have to think about his ability and like how to silence people and how to get the best shield or whatever. But if you just spam them, you're probably going to end up getting it anyways. You're probably going to end up getting the shield anyways. Charybdis, she is easy. Hate her. I don't think she's hard. I don't think she's good. I don't like anything about Charybdis. Easy. Chernobog's easy. There's not much to it other than like he's easy. His kit works. It's pretty straightforward. His ult can be confusing, but it's also extremely powerful because he has a global ult. As an ADC, he can be anywhere. A medium for Chiron, in my opinion, because it's difficult to realize how powerful his heal can be and how to utilize that effectively to help your team out. And also, I want to put him in hard, just it's not the easiest to like do damage with him. and make sure you don't die with him, but his abilities aren't hard to pull off. I don't think there's anything extremely hard about him. Maybe there's stuff that like makes him feel underpowered, but I don't think he's hard. Chronos, I would say he's hard, as just being able to time your 2 properly, which is what gives you the buff to your basic attack, your mana, your health, or your damage from abilities. He's definitely one of the harder gods, especially for beginners. I think you can do okay with him. If you're bad at the game, you might be able to do okay with him because he has like a good ult where he can get himself out of trouble. But even then, knowing where you were 8 seconds ago to make sure that when you ult, you go back to a safe space is pretty hard, in my opinion. And the fact that he has power scaling where he gets more powerful in longer matches. I'm debating on putting him in very hard, because I would say he's harder than yeah, I'm gonna put him in very hard. You guys might drag me for that, but that's okay. Kleena, I don't know if I want Kleena as very hard or hard. I'm gonna put her in hard. I don't think she's too difficult, but she's definitely not straightforward at all. Cthulhu, he's gonna go in medium. I think Cthulhu belongs in medium. He's not hard, but he's not easy. Cucullin, again, you might drag me for this, but I'm putting him in very hard because he's one of the only gods without mana, and understanding how to effectively build his rage so that you're not accidentally going into berserk form is not something that you're going to... it's something that you have to consciously think about the entire time. So he's not easy. I'm going to put him in very hard. You may disagree with me. I think Cupid... Bro, okay. Cupid's brain dead. Hear me out. His 1 is hard to hit, yes. It's a very hard skill shot. But bro, he has such a fast escape that gives him attack speed. His ult is huge for a hunter. And he has a heal. He's such a safe hunter. He's brain dead. Daji, I'm gonna put in easy. There's nothing really hard about her kit. Danzaburo, he's gonna go in medium. I don't think he's the hardest god to understand, but he's definitely confusing. He can be confusing. Trying to get the damage off with his 1 and trying to use his ult without dying can be difficult. So we'll put him in medium. Discordia, in my opinion, she's very easy. I wouldn't say she's brain dead. You do have to be able to position her abilities well to maximize her damage, but I don't think she's hard at all. You can literally just sit there spamming abilities with Discordia and you're fine. Erlang Shen, well, they took away all of his crowd control except for his ult. I'm putting him in hard. 1, because he doesn't have his knockup or his stun anymore. 2, because using his 1 and being able to do that without dying is kind of hard. And 3, because knowing how to build well with his dog to maximize efficiency. I think that's pretty hard, so I'm going to put him in hard. Also, why did you take away his crowd control? Iset, I'm going to put her in medium because she doesn't have an escape and her stun is hard to hit. And then her silence is also... It can be confusing knowing when to use it. I'm going to put her in hard, actually, because her ult also is kind of difficult to use well. Fafnir, y'all are going to call me crazy, but he's very hard to me. The stance switch is confusing, the stance switch, knowing when to get out of your dragon form early so that you don't expose yourself, because he is exposed when he's un-ulting. Being able to know when to use his abilities, who to use his buffs on. Trying to hit that hammer stun is so hard. He's not a very straightforward guardian, in my opinion. He's fun. I think he's very hard. Fenrir, I'm going to put in very easy. There's not much to him, in my opinion. He's an easy god to play, and he's an easy god to pick up. He's a really good assassin, in my opinion. Freya, easy. I wouldn't say she's very easy, because you do have to understand how to use her buffs to her advantage, but at the same time, she was one of the first gods I started playing, and she was so easy for me to pick up. She's very easy. She's not hard at all. Ganesh, I'm going to put in medium. It's hard for me not to put all guardians in hard, because it's not easy being a guardian. You have to make sure you don't die, and you have to make sure you peel well for your team. In terms of guardians, I would say he's one of the more medium ones. So, okay, he's going in medium. Geb, also medium for... He has good crowd control, good cleanse, good ult, but he's not the easiest to play, in my opinion. It's easy to die with him. Gilgamesh is easy, in my opinion. Just... I don't like Gilgamesh. Guan, I'm going to put medium. He's not too hard. He's not too easy. He's fine. Hachiman, I'm going to put in very easy. I think Hachi is a pretty easy hunter. It's just his ult would stop me from putting him in brain dead because, I don't know, his ult is stupid. It doesn't make sense to me. I hate his ult. Hades, we're going to put in medium because he is a risky mage to play. Habois, I'm going to put in hard. He does so much damage, but it's so easy to die with him if you're not setting things up right. Heimdall, hard. In terms of hunters, Heimdall is one of the more complicated hunters in my opinion. I'm going to put Hel in hard as well because understanding her different stances and knowing when to switch between them and doing it in time so that you're not screwing over your team is pretty difficult in my opinion. Hera is brain dead. It's just Argus. She just has Argus and she doesn't need to do anything. I hate her. Hercules, I'm going to put him in medium because it is difficult to pull off his combo, but once you got that down, you're a great Hercules. Horus is going in hard because it's hard to know when to use his ult, and also to effectively crowd control people, you have to be a little brave. Hard for Hou Yi as well. I think Hou Yi is one of the more complicated hunters because it's hard to pull off his ricochets. Hunbats, I'm going to put in easy. He has a really good ult and a straightforward kit. He's not the easiest to like get kills with in my opinion, but he's probably one of the safest picks for jungler because his ult is always going to be irrelevant. Ishtar, I'm going to put her in medium. She can be confusing, especially with like the 3 different abilities on her one, but she's not too hard. Ishel, I'm going to put her in easy. I think that her damage is really good. She has such good crowd control, and it's really easy to understand how to play her. Izanami's easy. It's hard to manage her mana, in my opinion, but she's a pretty easy god. I'm gonna put Janus in medium. He has really good potential but like it's hard to pull off everything with him, but I think that like he does a good amount of damage, and since they changed his 2 to do damage even in the middle, I think he's a pretty medium mage. I think he's a good mage. I wouldn't start with him as like my first mage, but I like him. I think he's pretty average. Jingwei, I'm gonna put her in easy. I'm gonna put her in very easy. I think she's a very easy hunter to play. She just has a really easy kit to understand. Jormungandr, I'm going to put him in medium. His abilities are straightforward. I'm going to put him in easy. Kali, I'm going to put in hard. I'm really bad at assassins, but knowing how to prioritize her targets isn't easy. Khepri, hard, because apparently it's really hard to, I don't know, use your ult. Now, I'm going to put Khepri in... Khepri is not hard to me. I don't understand. Khepri is easy to me. You peel for your team, you provide them protections, and you save them from dying with your ult. It's a cleanse. It's not hard. I don't know why so many people have trouble with Khepri, but he's not hard. King Arthur, I'm going to go with hard, just to be able to use his kit effectively and get the most damage. Kukulkan is brain dead, but not in an insulting way. He's easy. He's brain dead easy. Kumbhakarna, I want to say Kumbhakarna is hard. Especially trying to get his stun off, especially trying to get that extra damage from the mesmerize, and setting things up, and he moves very slowly. He could be a really difficult god to set up. Kuzenbo, this he's hard. I wouldn't put him in very hard. He's definitely a very difficult guardian to pick up. Really good guardian once you do pick him up, but I'm going to put him in just hard and not very hard, in my opinion. Lancelot. Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you go. Lancelot. I don't really have opinions on him. Is he difficult? Yes. His kid is a little difficult, I guess. But he's kind of... We'll put him in hard. I say he is a bit difficult to play. Loki is brain dead, no explanation needed. Maman Brigitte is hard. She has a lot of ability. You have to use your brain to play Maman Brigitte to do well. Marticarus, I'm going to put him in very easy. He has a pretty straightforward kit, and ability-based hunters usually, in my opinion, are easier, especially for new players, because they're getting used to using abilities and basic attacks. Yeah, I'm going to put Maui in very hard, because it's hard to synergize with your team as Maui, I believe. Medusa, she's easy. She has a straightforward kit, does a lot of damage. Yeah, she's pretty easy. Mercury, I'm gonna put in hard. Am I putting him in hard? Yes. He's very difficult, in my opinion, because it's not easy to not die with him. I'm gonna put Merlin in easy. Even though he's a stance switcher, all of his abilities basically do damage. I don't think that his abilities are too hard to figure out. I'm putting him in easy. You guys may disagree, but I think he's easy. For Morgan Le Fay, we're going to put her in medium. Her abilities are easy to hit, but understanding her passive can be stupid. I think her passive... I have her diamond, and I didn't understand like how to get that last rune until like recently, because I don't know, I'm dumb. She's a very average god, but I love her. Mulan, in my opinion, she's one of the easiest Mulan, in my opinion, is one of the easiest warriors. I think that she has a straightforward kit. You don't really have to worry as much about the passive because it kind of just happens over time. I think Mulan's pretty easy. Naja, I want to put Naja in easy because I think that his kit is easy. No, actually, I'm going to put him in hard. His ult makes him really easy, but managing the rings and doing his buff on his 2 is kind of confusing. Neith is brain dead. Nemesis, she's medium. She can be hard or easy depending on the meta, in my opinion. Nike, I'm gonna put in medium. She used to be hard. I don't think she's hard anymore. Nox, medium because it's hard to pull off her combo, but that's about it. Nuwa, very easy. I would put her in brain dead, but it can be hard to hit her stun. Odin, easy. There's nothing complicated about Odin. Olorun, I'm gonna put him in hard. He requires a bit of thought. Osiris, I'm gonna put in... I want to put him in very hard because it's hard to do well with him, but his kit is pretty straightforward. It's just, he's not the easiest god to play, but he's not the hardest god to learn either. So we'll do medium. Pele, hard because it's hard to manage her fuel and understand it. I'm gonna put Persephone in... Oh man. Old Persephone, I feel like I would put in hard. New Persephone is kind of just a hit your flowers. We're gonna put medium, if not easy. Poseidon, I think he's medium. You might think he's easy. In my opinion, he's medium because knowing how to do enough damage, like building up his meter, took me a while to figure out. And also, the fact that he doesn't have an escape as a mage is kind of scary, even though he does get bonus speed. Ra, though, he's really easy. His stuns are hard to hit, and that's the only thing, but he's one of the beginner gods, in my opinion, I think. Raijin, medium, just because you have to know how to use Raiju. Ram, hard. His kit is not straightforward for a hunter, in my opinion. I don't think he's particularly hard, but he's definitely not medium or easy. Ratatoskr, I don't even know what's going on with Ratatoskr anymore. I'm going to put him in medium. He's always in a weird spot. Raven, I'm going to say Raven is easy. Scylla, she's medium. Serket, bro, you're going very hard. She's one of the hardest gods for me. I have her diamond and I'm still terrible at her. Set, very hard as well. It's just trying to manage using Set, in my opinion, is not easy, and I don't see a lot of people using Set. Shiva's hard because there's a lot going on in his kit, I believe, and it's not extremely straightforward. I'm going to put Scotty in easy. I don't think there's anything particularly confusing or hard with her. Sobek, I'm going to put him in medium. I don't think he's hard at all, but I know that his pluck can be hard to pull off. Sol, I think she's one of the easiest gods in the game. Same with Sun Wukong is brain dead. Surtur, I'm going to put him in medium. I think Susanoo deserves to be very hard. Susanoo, he's hard. I have him diamond as well, but I don't know. I think he's one of the harder gods. Sylvanas is one of the easier gods in my opinion. Terra, I would put her in medium. Just trying to pull off her stun and setting up your stones in the right place is difficult. Thanatos is brain dead, can't stand him. The Morrigan, obviously she has her own category. We stand the hardest god in the game. She has to be the hardest god in the game because you have to understand every other god and like the perfect scenarios to use her ult well. Her base kit is not difficult, but there's no debating. She's the hardest god in the game. Thor, we're going to put Thor in very easy. I don't think he's pretty... we'll put him in medium because of his auto attack cancels. Thoth, easy, very easy, but not completely brain dead. Tiamat, I'm going to put Tiamat in hard. I would put her in very hard, but I don't think she's too hard to figure out once you've played her for a few matches. Tsukuyomi, we're going to put him in brain dead. Tyr, I'm going to put Tyr in very hard. He's one of the hardest gods in the game for me. I cannot do anything with him. And with Ullr, Ullr is very hard for me. I don't understand him. I understand him, but trying to get the damage off, trying to get your auto attack cancels in, easy. It's not easy. Vaughn, there's nothing to him. He's brain dead. He's probably the worst god in the game, in my opinion. Vulcan, we're going to put in medium because his ult's not the easiest to pull off. Xbalanque, medium because easy. Managing your mana can be hard, but he's easy. Xingqian, I think Xingqian's easy. I think he's an easy guardian. Is he good right now? I don't think so, but I think he's easy. Yemoja, we're going to put Yemoja in hard. Managing her Omi, the fact that she doesn't have Omi to begin with makes her hard. She has a really long cooldown on her ult. I'm going to put her in very hard because her Omi, understanding the differences between her portals, using her heal, I don't think she's easy. I think she's very hard. Ymir is very easy, but not brain dead. Yu Huang, he's hard. I don't like Yu Huang. Zeus is easy, but not brain dead. I would put him in brain dead, but it's so easy for him to die. And then our last one, Zhang Kui, we're going to put in medium. And here is the finalized tier list on my Smite Gods ranking from the Morrigan to Brain Dead. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you would put somebody somewhere else. Let me know if you think I'm really dumb. And like and subscribe and, you know, leave a comment if you really, really like it. It'll help me out. And you can visit my Nexus store and you can buy some gems and support me at the same time. And don't forget to join the Discord. I also stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Come hang out with me, chat with me. All right, goodbye, guys.